You fought at Sugarloaf, didn't you?
House fire, a bad one. At least 4 Vicks. Get out there and find out what you can. The address is 650 North Hobart.
I did, but I don't like to talk about it.
You come across a guy called Jack Kelso out that way?
Get going, Phelps. Don't waste my time. See to your case.
You know Jack Kelso?
He's an insurance investigator over at California Fire and Life. Our paths cross from time to time. For some reason, seeing you makes me think of him.
Has, Jack spoken to you about his experiences on Sugarloaf? Or the rest of the campaign?
Jack keeps stum just like you do. I know what it feels like to get back from conflict. You gotta respect that.
You hear about Rancho Escondido?
Are we having a conversation, Biggs?
Okay, fuck it. Forget
I'm teasing you, Herschel. Tell me about it.
Well, the new housing development's a couple of weeks from completion. Burnt to the ground last night. GIs are ready to move in this weekend. Developer's gonna have some very angry customers. It's a shame about Chapman. The arson desk has been trying to nail that son of a bitch for years.
He's still in custody, Herschel.
Wanna bet? They'll have kicked him loose already. Can't hold him for misdemeanor cigarettes and matches.
You guys better see this. I hope you have strong stomachs.
Do you have a name?
Morelli, Mike. We recovered a picture of the family.
Okay. Anything else?
To be honest, I just got here, Phelps. Best you talk to Lynch. He's the expert.
You ever think about how many people have died in this world and how big heaven would have to be to accommodate them, Biggs?
No, I have not. Show some respect.
What are they doing?
The prayer effect is from the fire. The muscles and tendons contract.
It doesn't make any sense. Why aren't they scattered around like the rest of the debris?
I think they've been moved.
Moved?
I think someone moved them after the explosion and before the fire.
Can you explain that, please?
I'm almost positive the cause of death is asphyxiation due to gas inhalation. Look at the parts of their bodies that aren't scorched. The coloring around the fingertips is typical.
They wouldn't have felt a thing.
I think the fire damage is post-mortem. I think someone moved him into this room after the explosion.
It still doesn't make any sense. Why would you run into a burning building? So what about the guy we have in jail, Phelps?
We got the wrong guy. It's our boy. I think he watches the fires. I think the Sawyer fire went wrong.
That doesn't explain why he ran into a burning building. What would make anyone do that?
Guilt.
For the fires?
For his mistake. This guy wants to burn houses, not families. He expects the houses to be empty. He was trying to redeem himself. He probably thought they'd be happier together.
You are one very disturbed individual, Phelps. I know you had it rough lately, but you should start to compartmentalize your thoughts.
He could be right. Can you come up with an alternative explanation?
I'm sure it's the same guy.
Are you telling me that some son of a bitch murdered these people, the whole family, and arranged them here like Cupid dolls?
It might fit, Cole, but I don't think we could ever prove it. There's very little evidence.
Evidence?
Albert, check out the hot water system. Make sure we're dealing with the same MO.
Sure, Phelps. I'll get back to you.
Leave the rest to us, Cole. You better find out what's eating Biggs. There isn't much I can tell you right now, Cole. You want answers about the fire? Talk to Lynch.
Do your job, Phelps. Let me do mine. No more questions, huh?
This is the flashpoint. The heater detonated with enough force to expose the foundations. Looks like the same model.
No usable evidence out here. Sorry. You have to take what you got and get to work.
We hosed it down, Detective. The rest is up to you and the tech guys.
So something finally got to you.
You want my help, pretty boy? You got it. You keep riding me and you won't be pretty much longer.
We can get this guy, Herschel.
You think you've seen everything, Phelps? I was with the 2nd Marines at Bella Wood. The things that went on in that farmhouse. My own guys on fire screaming for a way out. We are not going to get this guy. There's gonna be no photos and no citations. We're gonna kill this miserable fuck. End of story. Are you getting this?
You remember the list from the travel agent?
Sure.
The Morellis were winners too. Their name was on that list.
Christ. We should take a look around, work the neighbors, see what they know. I'll go across the street.
Okay, I'll try this side.
I haven't done this for years.
Someone was keeping watch. Looks like they were here for quite a while. Brand looks distinctive. Whoever he was wearing boondockers. I would know that imprint anywhere.
We ought to get moving. Check out this house fire. People died here, Phelps. Don't you think we should go back and be more thorough with the scene? You'd better talk to Carruthers. Lynch, too. We don't decide what happened here, Phelps. We go on the evidence. Search the whole house.
You've got quite a habit. Standard man's dress shoe. Boondockers they ain't.
You don't look like a fireman, son.
LAPD, can you tell me anything about the fire next door?
Terrible luck. Imagine after having won that weekend away.
What's your name, sir?
Foreman. Dudley Foreman.
Did you see or hear anything that might have...
Look, we were asleep when we heard the explosion.
And then what happened?
It was like Pearl Harbor with bits of the house raining down. Blew out all of our windows that faced the place.
You didn't like Morelli, did you?
Some neighbors you get along with, some you don't. I guess they should have sold up.
What do you mean?
They're knocking down all these old houses and building a new subdivision for GIs. Morelli was being difficult.
You weren't asleep. You were standing over there by the fence watching the place burn down. I hope you didn't know they were inside.
As much as I didn't like that wop bastard, I hope you have evidence that proves I was looking at the fire.
You said someone is knocking these houses down?
Elysian Fields. You must know them. They're billboards. That Monroe character beaming down at you. We've had an offer for the house.
Did the Morellis want to sell?
I don't know.
You knew that everyone else had sold up, but you didn't know about your next-door neighbor?
Like I said, we had some history.
Whatever you thought of Morelli, his whole family is dead. They couldn't have all deserved that. I want you to help me here, Foreman.
Morelli was pig-headed. He built the house himself. He didn't want to sell. Stubborn fool was ruining it for all of us.
You obviously know everything that goes on in this neighborhood. Morelli didn't want to sell, and you know why.
And how are you going to prove that I know what Morelli was planning, Detective? Morelli must have had his reasons. That's all I know.
Any luck, Cole?
A couple of things. What did you pick up?
A folded piece of paper. Looks complicated.
Japanese call it origami. Can I take a look?
Sure.
Paper crane. There's a legend about them. You fold 1,000 of these and you get a wish.
Hey, don't break it.
I'm not. I'm unfolding it. It looks like a waybill or a flyer.
For what?
For Elysian Fields developments.
Oh, I see you already have one. All a man can do is put in a prayer for the dead. That's about all I've got to say about it. Hey, I don't have all day. Mind if we move things along a little, Detective?
Thanks for your time, Mr. Foreman.
Sure. Hey, if you're interested, I have one of those competition flyers in the kitchen. I could get it for you if you like.
That would be great. I'll have a patrolman come by and take your statement. Hopefully you'll be a little bit more cooperative with him.
Come on, kid. I'm doing my best here. You were talking about the competition, right? Catalina Island? I've got one of the flyers in the kitchen if you're interested.
You smoke heavily, Mr. Foreman.
No. I never touched tobacco. Why do you ask? What the hell? Those aren't mine.
Did you see anyone hanging around the Morellis' home prior to the explosion?
Nope. Can't say as I was looking out, though.
Did they have anyone working on the house recently? A maintenance man, a city inspector maybe?
I doubt it. Why would they bother with these old places, what with redevelopment coming up?
You sure, Mr. Foreman? There are signs of someone hanging around over there by the fence.
Hey, now that you come to think of it, There was a guy. Kind of tall. Skinny, though.
Anything else?
Orange lumber jacket, a beat-up hat, and no hair. I thought he was the pest exterminator guy who was working around here the last few days. But that guy had hair.
I think you're covering for someone, Foreman. Who is it?
And I think you are off your rocker. How can you make an accusation like that? What proof have you got? I can see you're the excitable type. You shouldn't let your imagination run away with itself.
You said the Morellis had won a weekend away to Catalina Island?
Yeah, that's right. First thing I thought after the explosion was, thank goodness they was away. But then I find out they was still in there.
Who was running the competition?
What? I don't know.
You didn't enter yourself?
I'd already agreed to sell. The competition was an incentive for those who were still thinking about it.
I need more, Mr. Foreman. Tell me what you know about the Suburban Redevelopment Fund.
I know nothing about it. I've never heard of them.
I think you know plenty about the competition, Mr. Foreman. I think Morelli was holding out, and that was threatening all the other sales that were taking place around here.
That may or may not be true. You can speculate all you like, but you have no way of proving what you just said. Son, you keep making accusations, and I'm going to get annoyed with you.
When did the flyer arrive in your mailbox?
They've been arriving for weeks. This one was in the mailbox when I got home from work yesterday afternoon.
Elysian has to have a head office somewhere. Call it in, Phelps. Find out the address and we'll pay him a visit.
I need an address for a property developer. Elysian Fields Developments.
One moment, Detective. The address is 748 North Oxford Avenue, Wilshire. Anything else?
Messages, please.
You have a message. Contact Captain McKelty immediately.
Thanks. Can you put me through, operator?
Of course. Here you are.
Commander?
Leads on the Morelli fire.
We're about to go and visit Elysian Fields Developments.
You're about to do what? Leland Monroe? He's a personal friend of the mayor and the chief. Are you out of your mind? I'm warning you, Phelps.
Commander, we have a line of inquiry.
You have something, you bring it to me. You're hanging by a thread, Phelps. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Good. Have a report on my desk today.
McKelty has warned us off over Elysian.
Makes sense. It's a dead end. We should check out Rancho Escondido.
You know the place?
Sure. Corner of Fountain and Wilton. Let's go. We are not going to...
Yes, we are.
You just won't let this go, will you, Cole?
You know they're involved somehow. You expect me to turn my back on it?
You're a big boy. I expect you to know which battles are worth throwing my pension away for. Christ, the whole subdivision. What did I tell you about angry GIs? The neighbors have got to know something. Let's go have a little talk. We need more from the neighbors, Cole. Keep working them. You'd better take the neighbor's statement. We could find a game well and get an address for Elysian. The problem is, partner, those Elysian guys are connected. You know, there are times when you really miss a nightstick. There's more religion in the end of a nightstick than in 100 cathedrals.
I'm not going to tell you again, sir.
Don't tell me when and how I can come and go on my own property. This is America, dickhead.
It is not safe, sir. Now step back or I'll lock you up for a fray.
You smart-mouthed son of a bitch!
That's done it, Cole. We're going to have to pacify these poor saps.
This is not befitting a GI. You've had a bad break, but this isn't the answer. Stand down! That's an order! You're being damn foolish, soldier.
All you people need to clear the area. You are disturbing the peace. Disperse! Immediately.
Good thing you showed up when you did, detectives. Those folks were baying for blood. These poor bastards. They got every reason to be angry. You guys should take a look around. Hope you can find out who did this. These people have a right to be angry.
Okay, then. Let's see if there's anything left to take a look at. Check the house, Cole. It don't look right from here. Phelps! I think I found something over here.
The mortar is like dust. Is that normal in a fire?
You'd expect some shrinkage in the heat, but it looks like the cement barely adhered to the brick. Doesn't appear to be any wall ties either. This thing looks like it was built on the cheap. Rancho Escondido, that development that burned down. We gotta check it out. Back to Rancho Escondido. Part of the puzzle is there. We just need to find it. Look around. There's not much left, but it's worth a shot.
Oh. Oh. God damn it! Ah! Ah!
Ah! Oh!
Another residential. I hate residentials. You should take a look around.
You can search around all you like, just as long as you stay outside.
We were too late to save anything. Sorry.
Welcome to Elysian Fields.
Detectives Phelps and Biggs, LAPD, to see Leland Monroe.
Do you have an appointment?
We're the police, lady. We don't need an appointment.
Can I tell him what it's about?
It's an official investigation.
There are 2 police officers here to see Mr. Monroe.
Send them through.
And that's our cue. Thanks, ma'am.
All I can tell you about Mr. Monroe is that he's a good employer and a fine American. I won't have a bad word said about Leland Monroe. Mr. Monroe is improving the lives of ordinary families. It's very noble.
May I help you, gentlemen?
I wonder how many more layers we gotta go through to get to this guy.
We would like to speak to Mr. Monroe.
I'm afraid it's impossible. Mr. Monroe's schedule is booked weeks in advance.
Cut to the chase, sister. Is he in?
I'm not at liberty to reveal that, officer.
So he hired you for your intelligence?
I find that offensive.
You have every right to.
This is getting us nowhere, miss.
Casino.
Would you like us to return with a warrant?
That won't be necessary, gentlemen. Come into my office.
Are you deaf? Go away. I am not prepared to let you waste any more of our time. Please leave.
Who are you? How did you get in?
Detectives Phelps and Biggs, LAPD. We'd like to ask you some questions.
Oh. Why didn't you say so, officer? Would you like a cigar? Drink, boys.
Sure, I'll have a scotch.
Biggs, we're investigating a series of domestic fires, Mr. Monroe.
It's terrible, boys. How can I help?
Elysian Fields and Suburban Redevelopment Fund flyers keep turning up in the vicinity of the fires.
They're turning up all over town, boys. Can you imagine the current demand for housing?
So that's your explanation, Mr. Monroe? Coincidence?
Explanation? Why, what's to explain? I advertise on radio and billboards for buyers, and I advertise for sellers using waybills.
What's your connection to the Suburban Redevelopment Fund?
It's an organization of civic-minded individuals whose goal is to make the city a better place for its inhabitants, something I was proud to be asked to join.
We found a family burnt out in their home. Another house burned to the ground. Another Elysian Fields flyer. Our information is that they didn't want to sell.
Are you saying that's something to do with me? Is that your point?
Point is, every time we find a family barbecued, we find one of your flyers. Is that good advertising?
We hear that Suburban is under severe time pressure to complete work on the new houses. I think you're getting heavy-handed about it, and it's gone wrong.
I hope you have some proof of how I'm involved in this. I'll be happy to sue you for whatever you're worth. Rancho Escondido burned to the ground last night. That's one of my prestige developments. I'm a victim of these fires too, Detective.
You've made offers to buy houses in areas where fires have been recorded.
Are you suggesting that I'm burning people out of their homes so that I can sell them new ones? The arsonists. Do you have any suspects?
We aren't at liberty to say.
I didn't think so. The contractors I use for waybills. Do you suppose it could be any of them? I have a list of their names if it'd be of any help.
That would be very helpful, Mr. Monroe.
Glad to hear it. I'm always happy to help the LAPD. My secretary will provide you with that list. Did you know that I'm on the board of the police pension fund?
We need something to go on. Otherwise, more people will get hurt, and you'll keep losing houses.
Well, I want to help in any way I can, officers. The contractors I use for waybills, do you suppose it might be one of them? I have a list of their names if it'd be of any help. My secretary will provide you with the list. On your way out. Boys, I've given you all the time I can spare. I'm a very busy man. Off you go and catch this maniac.
Glad to be of help, officers.
What's the story? Any of these names ring a bell?
You will excuse me now. That's enough for now, detectives. I hope that's all. Can we speed this up a little?
What do you know about a competition for families to win free vacations to Catalina Island?
My company runs many promotions. I'm not familiar with that one.
The travel agent has a list of the winners. 3 of the names on that list have had their houses burnt to the ground.
And how many names on the list have not had a fire?
I don't know.
You wouldn't make much of a lawyer, detective. If you're going to rely on statistics, then you better get them straight.
2 families are dead, Mr. Monroe. This isn't a question of criminal liability. We're looking at conspiracy to commit murder.
Do you know who you're talking to, son? You want to use incendiary language like that with me? I suggest you should leave immediately.
Level with me, Mr. Monroe. You know all about the vacation offers.
You can believe whatever you like, son. You're missing the vital ingredient called proof.
Your face is all over the flyers, Mr. Monroe. You know about the prizes, and you're aware that they get given to holdouts.
My face is the brand. It's on all our advertising. Did you know that the mayor and the chief of police are part of the Suburban Redevelopment Fund? Do you want to accuse them of murder as well? You come in here making stupid, baseless allegations, and you think you can ruin my day. And we'll see about that.
What happens to your plans if a family like the Morellis refuses to sell?
We work around them. Business finds a way. That's the American way.
So it's for the greater good, then. One man standing in defiance of what you think is best for the city. I thought an American's home was their castle.
I'm not sure I like your tone, son.
Come on, Mr. Monroe. You expect me to believe that you would build a new development with one of those old piles smack bang in the center of it?
Progress is an inexorable process, detective. Those who choose to stand in defiance are usually confined to the wastebasket of history. To answer your question, yes, we would build around them if we had to. Most people see sense.
I think you're being less than candid, Mr. Monroe. You're building these homes to some timetable. You're under pressure to get rid of the holdouts.
And how exactly do you think you can prove that in a court of law, detective? Every developer is under time pressure, son. On one hand, you got the investors who want a return. On the other, the purchasers who want what they paid for. That's business. Now, are we finished?
What's Elysian Field's involvement in Rancho Escondido?
One of our latest housing developments. It was due to open on the weekend, or was before the unfortunate conflagration.
It met with building code regulations.
Absolutely. Only the best for our returning heroes.
Do you have building plans? Material requisition information, work logs, records of any kind that we could see?
I'm sure we do, detective. I tell you what, I'll have someone pull the paperwork from the archives and get back to you.
Mr. Monroe, I can have every building inspector from the city and the county going over those buildings.
Son, you have me shaking in my boots.
You're lying, Monroe. There's something out of kilter about that development.
Son, I've had enough of you and your fidgety friend. There's no way in hell you can prove that my materials were inferior.
I'm no expert, But I think we'll find that the bricks being used on those houses are undersized and the mortar is faulty.
And there's no wall ties connecting the masonry to the frame.
Every building is built to a budget, boys. Those buildings were inspected and fully insured by California Fire and Life. Investment of that magnitude demands it. Do you think that they'd vouch for the buildings without examining them? No offense, son, but you don't have the first goddamn idea what you're talking about.
Herbert Chapman is on this list.
Find the phone. We need to know where we're at with Chapman.
Your boss is a fine man. Can you check whether we are still holding a Herbert Chapman?
Let me find out for you. He was released this morning, Detective. Damn. I'm sorry, Detective.
It's not your fault. Can you give me a last known address and put out an APB on the guy?
I'll get back to you, Detective. APB will go out over KGPL shortly.
If we're paying a visit to Elysian and ruining my career, let's bite the bullet and get on with it. I don't think we're done with Monroe. He must have more answers. Let's head back. Careful with Monroe, Phelps. He's got a lot of clout and he's pretty sharp. See what you can get from him. Check the list. We need to know who's posting the flyers. Let's find a phone or a game well and see if they're still holding Chapman.
Let's go pick him up.
Buy me a drink, Cole? No. Not even for old time's sake?
Not even for that.
You're not going to ask me why I'm here?
I wouldn't give you the pleasure. You'll get around to it.
She's in fine voice this evening. I wonder how the commander would feel about...
Save the threats for someone who cares about them, Roy.
You're breaking my heart, Cole. You know how I feel about you. Stay away from Elysian Fields.
I should have known that you were playing errand boy.
You and your doofus partner. You have been warned.
Thanks for your cooperation, officer.
Stay away. You have no idea the type of people that are involved in that company.
I have a pretty good idea, Roy. The same kind of people that sent you here.
Your investigation is finished. Homicide will be taking over from here. I've heard we've had a spate of grass fires in the hills that you and that hunchback might be able to handle. Thanks for the drink, Cole.
You get the message about Monroe?
Yeah, Earl delivered it. You?
McKelty. He started making noises about my pension.
I'm sorry about that, Herschel. I didn't mean to drag you into this.
Save it, Phelps. Monroe's an asswipe. And so was Earl. And so was McKelty when it's all said and done.
KGPL calling car 11K. 11K.
11K, go ahead.
11K, the last known address of suspect Herbert Chapman is 650 North Kingsley Drive in Wilshire.
Roger that, KGPL. 11K en route.
We're looking for Herbert Chapman.
I'm looking for him, too. I need him to move his car so I can mow the lawn.
He's definitely not here.
I've been banging on his door off and on for a couple of hours. Yeah, he's out somewhere. You find Herb, you tell him to shift that goddamn jalopy. You know, if Herb's in trouble, there ain't nothing I can tell you about it.
Let's see what he's hauling around. Definitely gives him opportunity. We should revise the APB. He's clearly armed. Motive, opportunity, and hard evidence.
Hold it, Cole. There he is. It's Chapman. He's coming out of the laundromat. Shit! He's seen us.
Cops! Again!
Son of a bitch, he must have caught the trolley. We gotta move fast, Cole.
There's some kind of problem?
We bounce into Chapman's place and grab him. His name on the list is good enough for me. Back to Chapman's, Phelps. I don't want that piece of shit slipping away again. Let's take a look at the car. Stay on his ass, Cole. Don't lose him. Hold him tight, Cole. As soon as he ditches the tram, we'll be there to grab him. See if he can damage one of the wheels. Might act like a brake and slow the thing down. Look, Cole, the side plate's gone. Get me closer. I think I got a shot here. Get me closer to the driver's cabin. I'll plug Chapman. I'll call this in. Get some cars dispatched. Car 11K calling KGPL.
Go ahead, 11K.
11K requesting assistance. In pursuit of suspect aboard the 1110 University streetcar, currently heading east on Melrose Avenue. Advise all units. Suspect is in control of car and driving dangerously.
Roger, 11K. All units, officers need assistance on Melrose Avenue. A suspect aboard the 1110 University streetcar headed eastbound. Approach with caution. Suspect is in control of the streetcar and driving dangerously. Units to handle code 3, identify.
End of the line, you little prick. Come on, Cole. Looks like we have our man, Cole. Well done.
I'm not so sure. Chapman seemed to have his own agenda. There seems to be more to this than a personal vendetta.
What are you talking about?
The fires benefit Elysian in some way. I don't see Chapman and Monroe working together.
You have a point, but the evidence is good for Chapman. It's hard to be worrying about his side of the story when he's blasting away with that big 45.
Nice work, gentlemen. You put yourself at considerable risk stopping that trolley and probably saved a lot of lives. Anyone else but you, Phelps, and you'd be up for a bravery award. We've had our eyes on that slippery son of a bitch Chapman for as long as I can remember. I couldn't be happier than to wipe him off the scoreboard. And I hope this puts to bed that crazy stuff you had going about Leland Monroe. What were you thinking, Phelps? You'll be calling Richard Nixon a crook next. What the hell kind of desk do you think I'm running here, Phelps? I don't care if you're not happy slumming it in this squad. You either get yourself squared away or hand in your goddamn badge. You're on street duty until further notice. Get out of my sight! You think you can waltz around this city starting riots, harassing pillars of the community, and wantonly destroying the property of the LA Transit Authority?
What is it?
A letter from Lou. His insurance policy named me beneficiary.
California Fire and Life. He worked for Elysian?
Collapsed. The roof that he was working on collapsed. The roof that he was working on collapsed.
It's a very generous settlement. Elsa, I'd like you to do something for me. I think there's something dirty about Elysian Fields.
What has that got to do with Lou?
I want you to reject this settlement. I want you to go and see an investigator named Jack Kelso and ask him to make some inquiries about Lou's case.
Isn't this police work?
Do you want to find out what happened to Lou?
Why would he help this Kelso?
Jack won't be able to help himself if he smells a rat.
He's a friend of yours?
He hates my guts. Elsa, you could take this money and let them get away with it, or we could get Jack's help and do something about it.
Why not be honest with this man, Cole? He deserves your honesty if you want his help.
Believe me, Elsa, I'd like to level with him. I really would, but it's too late. Years too late.